All right, everybody, get ready for this episode of Vinyl Voices Radio here on ESPN. We got a really badass show tonight. This week's going to be extra special, not only because we're drinking some delicious award-winning beers from True Anomaly, but we also have a legend with us.
A legend, that's right, Houston legend. We have the Mighty Orq on tonight. Y'all know, you should know, but if you don't know, stick around and learn.
Stick around and learn because we're going to listen to some Mighty Orq. We're going to talk to him and jam some songs.
What I say, what?
For the fellowship.
This is Vinyl Voices Radio. ESPN 97.5.
Ladies and gentlemen.
I'm John Newman.
Jesse Sandehan.
All right, this is Vinyl Voices Radio. I'm John Denman. He's Jesse Sandejas. And we are hanging out with the Mighty Orq. Welcome.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
This is morning for you.
You know.
There's been a lot of times where the evenings, it's like, time to watch the sunset. It's beautiful.
I mean, like every musician I know, it's like, it's, breakfast time when we're heading home from work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we were doing it right.
Right. Yeah.
So, we have Mighty Orq, someone that I've seen perform many times. We've hung out a good handful of times. Mm-hmm. But the performances are just always just incredible.
Thank you, man.
If you've never experienced a show, you need to definitely go watch it. But it's you take people on a musical journey, and one thing that happens in every show I've seen is that you just go through this whole long thing where you just play for a long time, different guitars, and it just gets quiet, and then it just like draws and sucks you in and all that, and just man, it's just fun.
It's awesome, man. Thank you. I'm so glad you enjoy it. With stuff like that, I've sort of tried to, like you say. I mean, there's I feel like in a performance, there's sort of a trajectory or sort of a like a story arc really to the show. So that's that's one of the ways that I try to sort of present it. Where it really is engaging for people. And they kind of are they have to sort of be. You have to sort of focus on the performance a little bit just to sort of see what's happening next,
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I know you play with a band, play like solo, and doing a lot of that solo stuff. I'm sure, that is something that's just developed over time. You just, know how to draw people in just from the sheer necessity of it sometimes.
That's exactly it. So much, especially there was from, the period like around 2011, 2012 to like, for 2014, 2015, I was doing a lot more solo shows than I was playing with the band. And so like that's sort of when I started bringing a bunch of different instruments, to the shows and incorporating, just a varied instrumentation into a show because like you say, it's to sort of engage with folks and then keep them engaged really requires, especially as a solo act, just requires some thought and some visual stimulation as well. So if you've got a cigar box guitar and you've got a lap steel and you've got a double neck guitar and a resonator guitar and an electric guitar and an acoustic guitar, all this stuff, it just captures people's imagination a little bit more, and so they're more willing to listen to you as a solo act because a lot of times I think when people think of somebody performing solo, it's one of two things. It's either you've got like the one man band, like the kick drum on your back, and you're walking around with the cymbals and or it's somebody with an acoustic guitar,
right.
And it's maybe a little less exciting for somebody to watch unless they're really a fan of that artist.
Right.
So it really was. It was born out of necessity, and then I've translated that over to the band shows as well, and it's a ball. It's so
It
much
is.
fun, you know.
It is for us too.
Yeah, and I'm sure, like, whenever you're, like, as an artist, when you're up there and you're performing in front of a packed house and everything, when you have everybody's eyes on you, I mean, that's got to be stimulating, right?
It's, you know, it's interesting. Yeah, it's really like, you know, part of my mind is sort of like, don't blow it, man. They're watching you. Don't screw up.
Really?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah, absolutely. But you know, I've you know, never been like a nervous or shy performer. You know, I don't really get stage fright. You know, and so there's, you know, the other element of it for me is like I'm really focused on just, you know, presenting something that is exciting for me and for an audience, and that something that's fun that we can share together, you know, like in the performance space. And then what's really cool, what's really a jolt, like, you know, is that, you know, when you get done with a tune or you know, you play a really cool passage on the guitar, or you sing something cool or whatever it is, and then the audience responds, you know, with, you know, woo, something like that, you know, because that's exactly how an audience sounds, by the way.
Yes.
But you know, when you get this, when you get a response, the sort of response that you're hoping for, that's like, that's a good feeling.
Yeah.
You know. You know, but them watching is sort of like, you know, it's like, okay, just stay focused, stay here. We're doing this, you know.
I feel like this is like the best teaser that we've done on this show, because we came on, we did the intro, we were like, the Mighty Orq, a legend. We gave the audience that doesn't know no clue as to what this music sounds like. And even talking about all this, it's just like the setup, like, you know, John launches right into it, man, you're awesome live.
Yeah.
But, you know, all of this, we still haven't really talked about the sound. So maybe we just go to the song and let's hear the song and then circle back.
All right.
This one's called Stolen.
Covered in the dust of a country road. Money in your pocket, but nowhere left to go. You gotta lay low, keep your head down. Hide out where there's no one else around. You've been playing the dice, you better keep rolling. Gambling with the gold you have stolen. Lovers on your trail, they're getting so close. Dreams of capture haunt you, just like a hungry ghost. Swear you didn't know, you didn't mean to hurt no one. And now you're counting down the days by the bullets in your gun. And off in the distance, a bell is tolling, sounding for the lives you have stolen. little tear trickles from the corner of your eye. Off in the distance, a bell is tolling. Now everything you had has been stolen. Out on the street, hell is strolling. Now the life you had has been stolen.
All right. Yeah, that one is just. I mean, it's a story.
Yeah, yes,
Yes.
absolutely, absolutely. So I was working with this company, this podcast company for a little while, writing sort of like background music and stuff like that for their podcasts, and writing and recording songs for them, and I did one. There's another. So that song. It's called "Stolen." And it's on the newest album, which has not been released yet, and and there's another tune on that record called "The Outlaw" that I wrote sort of as part of this series for this podcast called "Legends of the Old West," and the company that was doing that they were going to do a podcast about bank robbers from the 1930s, and so they asked me to write a theme song for one of the episodes about not Jesse James, Pretty Boy Floyd.
Okay.
And so that's where that tune came from. So I was just trying to think about a 1930s bank robber and that was really the idea for the song, and like I incorporated, like on the original recording that I had done before we tracked it at the studio, where I was just kind of basically a demo type deal. I played banjo on it and talking about all the instruments that you bring to a gig. I was like, I don't want to have to bring a banjo to a gig too, you know what I mean, and figure out how to like electrify it, because I don't have an electric banjo. So I have a resonator that I sort of modified to I strung kind of like a banjo that I use now. And but yeah, that was the idea of the song. It was sort of I wanted to give it sort of a rustic feel, Oklahoma in the early 20th century with maybe a little bit of banjo, but a little bit of slide and energy with rock and roll, and right. Talking about just sort of trying to have a sense of like what it was like to be an outlaw, but in the in the early 20th century as opposed to in the later 19th century.
Right. Yeah, I love that. I love, without knowing any of that, just kind of listening to the lyric. It's just like, that's what music is, like it draws you in. It doesn't matter where it came from. Yeah. You can find something to attach to. But that song to me sounds like, if you do dirt, it's going to catch up with you.
Yeah.
That's what that song is. And that song plays anywhere because there's a bunch of people doing dirt out there.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, that was... Yeah.
I love that, dude. I love that.
That's a great description. That's what it is.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mentioned it like when we were listening to it, but that line where it's like counting down the days by the bullets in my gun. Yeah, that's one of those. Like, did you write that? I went, oh, wait a second.
Yeah. Yeah, the whole thing. Like, I really like when I'm writing stuff, I write sort of a few different ways. And I feel like with lyrics, because I'm not a natural lyricist, I feel more comfortable like writing instrumental music, because I can hear that stuff more easily in my mind, and it just makes more sense to me. So lyrically, I've really had to, I've had to work a lot harder on that. And what I've found, one of the techniques that really works for me is when I totally like, I'm not writing about anything personal. It's like I'm telling a story. This song is based on the life of Pretty Boy Floyd.
Right.
And so then what I sort of do is I just like, I'm trying to tell the story in pictures and like talk about the pictures, you know, like really describe those pictures. So it's like, you know, what do I see? Like I see this guy, like, you know, he's out in the middle of nowhere, and, you know, he's dusty. He's got, you know, his big V8, you know, Ford or whatever, you know, kind of car, and, you know, he's on the lam, and you know, all he's got is like, you know, he's in some dusty little rundown shack or something, and he's like, you know, how long have I been here? I don't even know. You know, it's like, well, he just starts putting, you know, bullets on the windowsill for each day, you know what I mean? And anyway, but you know, stuff like that. So like when I sort of start to think in those terms, like where I'm really describing and sort of trying to describe these like visual or you know, pictures that you would see in a story, then, you know, you get cool stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Also, trying to rhyme doesn't hurt either.
Right.
I mean, you kind of have to, unfortunately.
Yeah. You know.
Not always, but you know, but yeah, I mean, it is like a, you know, just and those pictures are painted very vividly in that song. You know, even part of like you're lying on your back, you know, staring into the sky, tear rolling out. You know, I mean, you know, you catch on to those lyrics, you can see all those, you know, scenes.
That's
it's
awesome.
like that's the video right there. We don't even need it, you
Yeah.
know, because it's so clear.
Yeah, that's awesome, you know, because that's really, you know, with this song and this other tune called The Outlaw, I mean, that's really, that was sort of the place where I was writing from, you know, where it's like you're telling the story about these folks, and I was really just trying to describe something that was, you know, it's this very like visceral thing, you know. You think that you're on the lam, or you're, you know, whatever. The Outlaws, the story on that one's a little bit different, but yeah, you know, with this one, it's like just trying to, you know, that to me is I feel like I write the strongest lyrics when I'm just thinking about images and like just telling the story in a stepwise manner, you know. It has a beginning and a middle and an end. You know?
Sure.
Yeah. All right. Now we need to take a quick break and get back. We'll talk more with the Mighty Orq. This is Vinyl Voices Radio here on ESPN. We'll be right back. Wellness, our friends down in Dickinson, is where you need to go if you're feeling sluggish, non-energetic, and non-motivated, not just when you're hungover. Get to know your numbers. As we get a little older, our hormone levels change, men and women. KT Wellness can help. Weight loss, hormone optimization, low testosterone, B12, Botox, and more. KTWellness.com. Why not feel your best again? KTWellness.com.
Welcome to Vinyl Voices with your hosts, John Denman and Jesse Sandejas, where the music flows as freely as the beer.
We are back. This is Vinyl Voices Radio here on ESPN, hanging out here with the Mighty Orq, drinking some excellent True Anomaly beers, award-winning brewery. They won actually a lot of awards here recently.
Yeah.
So, but their beers are excellent. Frank's Pizza.
Pizza and beer.
Pizza, beer, good music.
Yeah. We finally got the audience to listen to a song, so they could get the vibe.
Yeah. So, like I said, the last one definitely told a story. This one here, though, I've already listened to all these, so I'm not going to give it all away just yet. But walk us through this one just a little bit.
So this song, this was like one of the, I wrote this song probably 25 or 26 years ago. And at the time, I was sort of learning slide guitar. You know, I have, you know, played electric guitar, and but I love slide. And so I was sort of working with slide. I had just learned about, because I was probably 19, so say it was like 25 years ago. And I had just heard about this one particular open tuning called Open D, right? And so I was messing with that, and the way that I sort of when I'm learning something new, the way that I most easily sort of assimilate that into my mind and my hands and stuff, my muscle memory, is to like write songs and just sort of mess around and see what I can sort of make happen. So that's really where this song came from. So that was sort of the musical or the instrumental part of it, and then the lyrics were just sort of something a little bit different, that was a little bit risque, and I'll leave it there.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. We should listen to it, right?
Yes.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Thick as honey, twice as sweet. Sure to knock you off your feet. Wordless longing, sight unseen. Talking about the sweet in between. Sweet in between. Lonely hearts and broken men. Don't wanna be where I've already been. Searching for some kind of dream. Searching for my sweet in between. Sweet in between.
like it depends on so much, man. The bone structure of your face, how the diaphragm is
Posture,
shaped.
yeah.
You know
How many
skull
hollow
is
spots
shaped.
you have on the way out?
You really, it's like, I mean, you have to sort of like learn to work with what you got, you know, and figure that out. It takes time.
Yeah. That's wild. I mean, just talking, listening to the song, you know, John was just like vocals, you know, like, and I think when we think about you, people that have followed you for a minute, we're always thinking about the guitar, you know, but like truly what John just said, and I know because the wife and I were at a show recently, and we're at the bar, you know, drinking a beer, and you know, we're listening, but we're like kind of engaged with each other.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, she's like, "Is that Kiss by Prince?" And you were singing, and then we're like,
Don't have to be beautiful. Turn me on.
and then from that point on, but you know, again, that's like this instrument that you also have in your arsenal that's not necessarily the one that we always talk about first.
Right. Yeah. No. It's, you know, it is. To me, it's like I've worked, you know, probably just as hard at singing as I have at guitar, and you know, the thing about singing is you know, it's much more of this, it's a physiological thing. Like you can sort of, with I think with most instruments, if you practice enough, like you're going to be able to, you know, be at the very least proficient to very good. You know, and some people are just have this sort of genius level of technical ability with instruments, you know, with whatever instrument or multiple instruments. But with singing, you know, it's very much you are within the constraints of your physical body, because you know you can't necessarily change the, you know, how your
No
vocal
matter how
cords are.
high I try to hit that pitch, it doesn't go.
Yeah, and some people, like, dude, some people, you know, are like tone deaf. They can't actually like distinguish one note from another. You know what I mean? And some, you know, you don't have this range, and you can, or you know, your face, the structure, your bone structure in your face is you know, in such a way that you have this certain sound or whatever. So it's like, it's really this, in my experience, because I was not trained as a singer, barely trained as a guitar player. It's very much this experience of just sort of trial and error, where you're just sort of, you know, throwing up against the wall and throwing. Trial and error. You're not throwing up against the wall, hopefully, but you know, where you're just throwing stuff up against the wall to sort of see what sticks and what works best, you know, for your own sort of physical ability, and at the same time, like trying to, like the way that I learned to sing was this similar way to how I learned to play guitar, which was like I wanted to sound like, you know, singers who I love, you know. So it's like you try to do that, but it sort of gets filtered through your own physiology, you know.
Yeah. I think for this music, obviously, it's very roots oriented, you know, but I think a long time in town, people just strictly identified you as a blues man.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
yeah.
And it's more, you know, there's more to it than that, I think. But I think that, you know, there's certainly something about, you know, especially when you're playing solo shows, you know, we think about like, you know, Lightnin Hopkins and these, you know, Houston blues artists that just come up with the guitar.
Well, and that's a beautiful, you know, person or group of folks to be
Sure.
alongside.
Right. But for you know, those artists too, do you think it was guitar first and then, you know, vocals next? Or are you kind of you know, following in that tradition? Or what you clearly were attracted to the guitar initially, and then figured I need to get some singing in here too.
Yeah.
I guess.
Man, you know, I mean, I always loved to sing, but yeah, I was definitely, you know, when I started playing guitar, I played violin actually before I played guitar, and not really by my own choice necessarily. You know, I was like 5, I was in kindergarten, I was like 5, and at the elementary school I went to, they offered violin lessons, and so my folks were like, "Hey, you want to play violin?" And I was like, "Sure." You know, sure. Yeah. And so I did that for a while, and I played violin for about 5 years, and you know, was never really you know, it was fine and it was just fine, but I wasn't, you know, super into it. And so we had a guitar laying around the house, and so that was something that I really gravitated to when I was about, you know, 10 years old. I made the switch. And then when I discovered artists like Lightnin Hopkins and like Robert Johnson and B.B. King and players like that, it was something where you know, part of me really did want to just play solo, because at the time I was trying to be, you know, I was trying to be in bands and put together bands or be part of bands and stuff, and it's just it is so difficult,
right?
To, you know, the interpersonal dynamics of the 13 or 14-year-old band,
Sure.
you know, life is very you know, chaotic.
Yeah.
First, we're moving out.
Yeah, you know,
Then we're buying a car.
yeah, like it's just like, man, you can't, you know, nobody can agree on anything. It's like, oh, we're gonna play this style of music. Oh, we're gonna play this, you know. And so I really loved the just, you know, solo guitar singer approach from the standpoint of just like some like, you know, some like emotional piece where I could like play music that I liked, you know, and not have to sort of fight anybody about it creatively. And I imagine, like, you know, players like Lightnin Hopkins or Blind Lemon Jefferson or folks like that, you know, were approaching it sort of from a similar, maybe utilitarian standpoint, where it's like, okay, I've got a guitar, and like, well, I'm going to sing because I'm going to tell you this story,
right?
You know, and it wasn't, they weren't trying to sing opera or something. They were just trying to communicate what was on their soul,
right?
You know, and so it's, you know, from my standpoint, there was very much of that involved as well, but because I wanted to sort of be able to tell more of my story and have to sort of negotiate less artistically.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Well, that song that we listened to was Somewhere in Between.
Sweet in between.
Sweet in between.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sweet in between. About jelly-filled donuts, right?
That is correct.
Yes.
I love.
Pick that up.
Love them.
Pick that up.
Yeah, that's, you know, it's like, dude, I wrote that when I was like 19 or something, and you know, I think of it, and I still play it. I mean, I still play it today, and I still like the song. You know, it's got good energy to it, you know, but lyrically, it is definitely, I think, you know, it's something that you can tell is maybe a work by a less experienced lyricist. But it still fucking rocks, man.
Yeah, it does rock.
You know?
It gets what it needs done.
Your
Absolutely.
voice.
That's it, you know.
And the thing, you know, your voice sounded so sweet on it. It was just like, it doesn't matter what. It just sounds good.
Yeah, I mean, there's something about a lot of guitar going on, and just like belting stuff out.
But, you know, the neat thing about that tune too, and also Stolen, because I think of myself like when I think of myself as a guitar player, like I think of myself as an electric guitar player, like the conventional, like, you know, rock and roll guitar player. Mm-hmm. But those are both slide songs. I'm playing resonator guitars on both of them.
Right.
And, you know, so I like that, you know, it's sort of taken this instrument that was really popularized in the 1920s and 30s and stuff, and making it, you know, I'm able to sort of use it in this you know, slightly more modern context. I don't know if rock and roll is really modern anymore. But you know, use it more in a modern way, and sort of while keeping those traditions sort of in play. I mean, that's a fun thing too, and it's always wacky too, because like I really like that tune. I like both of those songs, and you know, just I don't think of myself as like a reso only player, but if you like listen to that, you'd be like, oh, well, he plays resonator, you know, exclusively or whatever. And anyhow, I digress. Now I'm rambling. Pardon me.
That's why I say go to a show.
Yeah.
Then you get to watch play like everything.
Right.
So, except for a banjo.
Except for banjo.
All right, we're going to take another break. This is Vinyl Voices. We'll be right back.
needles up, but we'll drop it back soon. See you after I grab the next round.
Key T Wellness, our friends down in Dickinson, is where you need to go if you're feeling sluggish, non-energetic, and non-motivated, not just when you're hungover. Get to know your numbers. As we get a little older, our hormone levels change, men and women. Key T Wellness can help. Weight loss, hormone optimization, low testosterone, B12, Botox, and more. KeyTWellness.com. Why not feel your best again? KeyTWellness.com. All right, we're back with some more Vinyl Voices Radio here on ESPN, hanging out with Mighty Orq. So far, it's been very entertaining.
Yeah.
You just wait till the magic tricks, man. I got some card tricks. You guys are gonna love it. You're gonna love it.
For our studio audience, hanging out here in the studio is our audience. But yeah, so let's jump right into this next song, because it's funny, because I think I was looking at the timing, just trying to figure out like how long we need to do segments for, even though Jason's the one back there telling me that like how much time's left. But they're getting a little bit longer and longer. Uh-huh. So now we're getting to like a 5.5 minute song like coming up, Boogeyman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we want to hear that.
Dude, it's a cool one, man. And should I talk about it now or
Yeah.
Okay.
We can start.
So this was a tune. So this song was written by a friend of mine named Benny Braskett, and Benny is just a fantastic songwriter, multi-instrumentalist. He's a real character. He's a real card. Kind of a wild man, and he grew up around music. His father was a musician and had a venue in Galveston in the 50s and 60s called the Silver Slipper. No. Oh gosh, it's still there. I can't think of what it's called. Oh, what a space cadet. I can't think of the name of the venue, but it's in Galveston now. But anyway, Benny grew up around music, and his old man was a musician and band leader and ran this venue in Galveston in the 50s and 60s, and you know, he grew up hearing all this music as a kid because he lived upstairs from the club, and so he was just this phenomenal songwriter, and this is one of his tunes. He's got just a catalog of really wonderful songs that. One of these, I keep having this like vision or this idea that I'm going to, do a whole like album of his tunes. Anyhow, this is a song called Boogeyman, and it's sort of ominous. You know, lyrics are very ominous, and he wrote it in the style. The thing that he wrote it in the style of John Lee Hooker, who was sort of known. One of his nicknames is the Boogeyman, right? And so he wrote it in the style of John Lee Hooker. You know,
Right.
And when I was a kid, I think I was about 20, I played some gigs with Benny, backing him up on guitar, on second guitar, and that was one of the tunes that I played, and that's how I got to know that tune as well as several other songs. And the recording of it now, this is another tune from the upcoming album. The arrangement of it now is completely different. It's this sort of like psychedelic take on this song, and that came about because I was doing a solo show, and this fella came up sort of as the things were winding down, and he's like, "Man, I'll give you like $200 to play that cigar box guitar again." And I was like, "Yes, sir." And so, I grabbed the cigar box guitar, and I'm like, what am I going to play on this thing now? Like I couldn't think of a song, and the Boogeyman is what occurred to me. And so I started playing it like that, and then I transferred it over to the electric guitar, and it just sort of developed into this sort of a little bit of a, sort of freaky psychedelic journey. And,
that it is.
Yeah, that's the whole deal.
All right, let's listen to it. Boogeyman.
your neighbor. It's a funny old world. Mother Nature's in peril, and you can't save her. She's been a good old girl. You better lock your doors and load your pistol. This life will be a long night. What's that sound? Listen, sister, cut off all the lights. Because the boogeyman will get you if you don't watch out. Here it comes again. I said the boogeyman will get you and there ain't no doubt. Well, it's gonna get you in the end. Kids got guns, they like pee-wee soldiers, trying to find a thrill. Watch your back and don't you mess, don't care who they kill. You better lock your doors and load your pistol. This life will be a long night. What's that sound? Listen, children, cut off all the lights. Because the boogeyman will get you if you don't watch out. Here it comes again. I said the boogeyman will get you and there ain't no doubt. Well, it's gonna get you in the end. I said the boogeyman will get you if you don't watch out. Here it comes again. The boogeyman will get you and there ain't no doubt. Well, hey, I said the boogeyman will get you if you don't watch out. Here it comes again. I said the boogeyman will get you and there ain't no doubt. Well, ooh, yeah, I said the boogeyman will get you if you don't watch out. Here it comes again. I said the boogeyman will get you and there ain't no doubt. Well, it's gonna get you in the end. Boogeyman's gonna get you. Oh, get you.
Speaking of the boogeyman, so no, that one riffs much harder.
Yeah, man, that's a rocker, and the thing that I like about that one that really sort of spoke to me is like, the lyrics are sort of, I mean, he wrote that song, I don't know, probably 30 years ago or 25 years ago, and it just stands up, lyrically. I mean, maybe even more so today. It's like the fear your God, hate your neighbor. It's a funny old world. It's Mother Nature's in peril, and you can't save her. She's been a good old girl. Like stuff like that. I mean, that's just like,
That's a
it's
good
sort of
one.
like these are great lines, and then you like listen to, you're like,
Those aren't just visuals,
crap!
right?
Like, this is
For sure.
yeah, kids got guns. They like pee-wee soldiers. Stuff like that, and it's just like, man, you know, that to me was, you know, lyrically, it's such a relevant song, and it's so it just and it's you know, it's kind of spooky. You know?
Well, yeah, because it's still relevant.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
probably more now than, like you said, it was
Yeah.
25 years ago.
Yeah.
And at that time, it was relevant.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a nice arrangement too, though.
Thanks,
you know,
man.
having that just kind of, because that sound is relevant too now. The whole, you know, kind of psych, you know.
Yeah,
it's-
and I feel like it presents the song sort of, I don't know, just in a way that's like that makes sense with the lyrics, you know.
yeah.
Now I want to find that, like, the original, just like that boom, 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 boom.
Yeah,
that-
right. Because
I
it's
wanna hear
so,
that.
you know, that's the other thing. I love songs that like where it's like, you know, the lyrics are maybe a little bit darker, a little bit more heavy, and then the music is just
Oh, yeah.
sort of, you know, like
yeah.
effusive, and it's like dancey, and you can like,
Right.
you know, it's, you know, got you feeling good, you know.
Right,
And you
dancing,
start
having
listening
a
to
good
lyrics,
time,
and
the
you're
kids are
like,
singing along. They're like, I went to the rope store.
yeah, I mean, yeah, dude, you know.
It's like, wait, you just went and you bought a stool. Hold on a second. You know, like,
What
let's get-
the? What are you guys listening to?
Yeah, kids.
Yeah, yeah. If I can get a copy of that of, he's got at least a couple albums worth of material recorded. I'll try to get that to y'all because it's super cool. It's super cool.
I would say that, I mean, all that, your arrangement on it, though, feels more Galveston. Because, you know, like, I mean, I don't know about you, but to me, Galveston's kind of a spooky
It's a
place.
spooky place,
It's a
man.
spooky place.
Dude, we used to like.
Sorry, Galveston.
Which is wonderful. Like Galveston is amazing. Like,
It is amazing.
I
I-
love Galveston, but it is definitely like there's a spirit there to the island that is serious.
Haunting?
It is haunting. You know,
Yeah.
there's a lot, and it is a fascinating place. And so much history, and you know these beautiful buildings, and yeah, we used to play this Thursday gig on the Strand years ago, and like every time, you know, I'd come into town, I'd go, you know, get off the Causeway, get on a Broadway, and like, you know, there was this feeling that you would get that was like, there was a stillness and like a seriousness or something. I don't know. And it used to make me nervous, and now I love it.
Tell us a little bit more about the new album. You know, when can we expect it? And then just about, you know, where you're playing around, just so folks can come see the show that John's been talking up all night.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So, so the album is done, and what we've been doing is we're sort of shopping it around to different, you know, labels, just agencies, publicists, management companies, things like this, to see if somebody wants to, you know, collaborate and release it somehow, and you know, get it out there in the world, and try to sort of share it with as many people as effectively as possible. And so we haven't released it yet, really because of that. We really want to do it in a way that is you know, going to be able to reach the most folks and really have the most positive effect.
Right.
And but when that happens, dude, I'm going to let as many people know as I can. You know, I mean, we're doing a couple of South by Southwest shows this year to you know, try to get the word out, and we're doing, I don't know, February this February we're doing a couple fun ones, man. We're playing at Green Hall on the 10th
Okay.
of February, and that's an afternoon show. We hit at noon, and then we're playing in Clear Lake at the U of H Clear Lake Bayou Theater on February 23rd, Friday, February 23rd.
Okay.
And that'll be cool too, man. But that's sort of an annual show that we've done. This is our third time there, and dude, it's such a nice space, and it's always just a great time, and the crew there is great, and I think it's really nice for, you know, the audience too, because, you know, it's nice seating, it's a theater environment, you know, it's not a smoky
never
bar
been to it.
necessarily.
Me neither.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, man, and they have, you know, there's a few of these theaters around Texas, and it's like, and they'll have like super cool shows, you know, during their season, and like a lot of times it doesn't get as much publicity as you think it would. You know, like Paul Schaefer's been, and you know they've had name acts come through, and anyhow, it's a fun. So we'll be there on February 23rd, and we'll be at Green Hall on February 10th if you're in Central Texas. So
Look up Mighty Orq and stream his music from all over the place. Go check out a live show for sure. And if you can't see Mighty Orq, go see another show. You know, just go out and watch some bands. There's so many people that are like, it was like my favorite band's from 25 years ago. I was like, well, then you're missing out. You know, you're missing out. Go see some live music. Support them, and while you're at it, stop by one of your local breweries and grab some of their beers as well. But Orq, man, always appreciate it.
Likewise, thank you.
Good hanging out with you. And on behalf of DJ Muskrat, Jason Esparza, Jesse Sandejas, and myself, appreciate you guys listening and watching the show. We'll talk to you next week.